According to Gallup report, only 33% of employees actually feel engaged at work. And I read another Forbes article report that said 70% of us actually fantasize about quitting our 9-to-5 jobs to pursue something more meaningful. So if you're in that bucket of feeling lost or wanting a career that's purposeful, energizing, and that you genuinely love, and you're wondering how, and is that even possible? I'm here to tell you, yes, and I am proof, and here are 4 key steps. Step 1 is to follow your energy and not that job title. So there's work out there that drains us, and there's also the things in life that light us up. So forget about asking, what job should I do? Instead, I found what's helpful is start by asking, what do I get lost in? What excites me? And what could I talk about for hours? And that is a really good hit. I'm Annie. I'm a brand and web designer and founder of emptistudio. And last year, I made over $132,000 doing what I love, which is graphic design, branding. I get to build really gorgeous websites, and clients pay me thousands of dollars for it. And they thank me and really appreciate me at the end of the day. And just 4 or 5 years ago, this seemed like a complete pipe dream, and friends around me, they always ask, like, how did I get into graphic design? How did I find this? And how did I know it was right for me? And I always tell them this: in high school, when I had to write assessments, I found myself spending more time trying to find a really pretty font, laying the text out perfectly, rather than writing the actual essay and the actual report. And then I found out that people actually do this for a living, and that is how I knew. So ask yourself, like, what do you actually enjoy doing? That is a huge clue to what could be a potential strength, and where there is strength, there is value. There's a quote by Cal Newport in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, saying that passion is not something that you follow, it's something that follows you as you put in the hard work to become valuable. As you start getting good at something, you tend to love and enjoy it more. So look at your hobbies, your obsessions, and those quirks, and this is a really good starting point to find that career that you'll actually love. Step number 2 is super practical, is to explore your Ikigai. And if you haven't heard this concept before, you're in for a treat, because it is a complete game changer. I love this whole concept, and according to the book of the same title, Ikigai is a reason that you get out of bed in the morning. And it's a Japanese concept that helps you to try to find alignment between 4 things. Number 1 is what you love. Number 2 is what you're good at. Number 3 is what the world needs. And finally, number 4 is what you can actually be paid for. And when all these 4 things overlap, that's when you know you've found the sweet spot. And you don't need to wait until everything aligns perfectly. Start with 2 or 3 elements and grow and discover and explore from there. Step number 3 is to run tiny experiments. A career you love, it never arrives fully formed. You build it by testing and try to test ideas quickly. Oftentimes, we really romanticize what we think could have been. The grass is always greener on the other side. Like, a lot of people might say, oh, being a model seems like such an easy job as long as you look good and look pretty. But that's from the outside. Until you experience all the criticism, the body shaming, the insecurities. Maybe you think being a Big 4 consultant sounds like a dream, stable, lucrative career with a steady progression, until you deal with all the corporate politics, and then it just makes you want to tap out. So test it, try it out first before you commit. I want to share this quote with you by Maya Angelou, which is that success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. I really want you to remember this, that your dream career, it's not found, it is built. It's really never a straightforward journey. And yes, some people find it earlier than others. My partner and I have this conversation all the time. He's kind of still in the process of figuring it out, and he thinks I'm really lucky for knowing exactly what I want to do. But looking back on my journey, it was actually filled with twists and turns. I always wanted to do something design related. In primary school, I thought it would be fashion. I always played those Nintendo DS games where you can dress up your character. And in year 4, I remember I went into a toy store, and there was like mini mannequins where you can pin little bits and pieces of fabric to it. So I begged my parents to get it for me for my birthday or something like that, and then I just took little bits of fabric and tried to pin it on and create a design, and I loved it. So I ended up taking a textiles and fashion class back in year 9 in high school. And then I realized it wasn't for me, because you're just dealing with tons of fabric. It's really hard to come up with your own designs, and then projecting into the future. If I do this for a living, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the industry. So I quickly moved on and said, maybe what about interior design? Because in high school, I watched this Australian TV show called The Block, where they did renovations and then they sold the property for crazy amounts of money. They furnished everything from the interior to architecture. It looked so stunning. So then what I did was I chose design and technology as a subject throughout high school. And for my year 12 graduation project, for my major work, I chose to do an architecture project. But guess what? I absolutely hated it. I did not enjoy learning CAD, like 3D modeling rendering software. I didn't really enjoy learning about built materials, engineering basics, all of those things. I hated it. And all I liked was sketching the design and building a miniature architectural model. And that is not feasible if I want to do this as a career. But graphic design is something that kind of fell into my lap randomly. In year 10, we had to do 1 week of work experience in Australia, and it's a compulsory. Otherwise, trust me, I was so shy, I would have definitely tried to get out of it. I was thinking about going into like an architecture firm, but I was too shy to send out any cold emails to anybody, and no one in my family or around me knew anyone in that industry. So I procrastinated for the longest time, where literally, I think like 2 or 3 weeks later, it was the deadline, and everyone else kind of had things lined up. Until my teacher, who was a little bit worried, I think she said, "Hey, Annie, you're interested in design, right?" Someone from the year above actually did their work experience week with a graphic design studio. Are you interested? I can give you their email. You can reach out to them, and I'm sure they're going to accept you. So based on my fear of not wanting to reach out to strangers and being rejected, I gave up on my dream career opportunity of working in an architecture firm, and I took that offer. I reached out to that graphic design studio, and that ended up being one of the most magical experiences of my life. Call it fate, call it luck, call it the universe, whatever. It was amazing. It was this boutique little studio in Surrey Hills, which is like the artsy hub of Sydney, where all the different design firms are at. And they had a lot of cute little cafes around the studio. I walked in, I was 15 years old, and I saw in front of my eyes a beautiful like industrial style studio. They had massive silver iMacs at every single desk, and one of the directors, he had a golden retriever, and he was in the studio with us every single day, and I was absolutely impressed. I never thought this was possible. I never thought this world existed. I just thought you're at cubicles, you're doing your work, and it can't be that enjoyable, right? But my job was literally going onto Pinterest, pinning and saving pretty pictures, creating mood boards, creating color palettes, and I even got to DIY their Christmas cards. So after completing the HSC, the high school certificate exam in Australia, and we were supposed to select our top 5 university courses to apply to, I chose visual communications, which is graphic design, as my top choice. And that was a career that I didn't even know existed just 2 years ago. So my ultimate advice for someone feeling lost in the job and wanting to find a career doing what they love is to follow your curiosity, go down rabbit holes, go down paths that feel right, and also don't settle for less. The final step is really funny. It's to uncover the shit sandwich. And stay with me, let me explain. Even in your dream job, there's what Elizabeth Gilbert calls in her book Big Magic, shit sandwiches. And she explains it like this: every career or passion comes with its own shit sandwich. The unglamorous stuff that you have to deal with, all the rejections, the admins, the emails. For me, for design, you are dealing with feast and famine cycles, you're dealing with clients maybe not paying on time, you're dealing with clients who doesn't want to pay you at all. And the key to your dream career is finding the kind of work whose shit sandwich you're willing to eat. In Liz Gilbert's words, the question is not so much what are you passionate about. The question is what are you passionate enough about that you can endure the most disagreeable aspects of the work. And when I read that book, I highly recommend every single one of you guys, if you're a creative, you want to live your dream life, go read that book. Even the most perfect jobs in the world comes with its downsides, and just people don't talk about this enough. So don't overly romanticize things. Experiment, try out that shit sandwich, and if you're willing to down that, then you know it's a path worth pursuing. Not gonna lie, one of the biggest shit sandwiches, if you're gonna pursue that creative freelance path of working for yourself, it's not making enough money. But that doesn't have to be the case. I actually want to invite you to my upcoming live 10K month masterclass, where I break down exactly how I went from an unfulfilled designer to self-employed and to making over 132K last year consistently with high ticket monthly subscriptions. That is my secret. And say goodbye to feast and famine cycles, no more scary cold outreach. I'm going to share with you a proven roadmap that actually works. So if you're creative, if you're a freelancer, if you're someone who's like multi-passionate that's ready to actually pursue a career that you genuinely enjoy, scan the QR code on the left and follow the link in the description below, and I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to want to check out this one on the left right here. And if you prefer listening on the go, we also have a podcast called the Brand Creative Podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.